In this video, the first thing I want you to do is take a look at these 6 integrals, and you're trying to identify all of the ones that would involve, whose final answer would involve natural log. So remember to be in the form where you let u be the denominator, right? We let u be the entire denominator, and then our answer will we'll end up with an integral, which is 1 over u, whose antiderivative is natural log of the absolute value of u. So right now we're looking for integrals in this form. If you're watching this video after we've already studied integrals involving inverse trig, try to identify which ones would be inverse trig. And then which one up here is just a u sub from like last chapter that we were doing these types of problems like back in October when you first learned u sub. Okay, so take a minute to look. When do you see the derivative of the denominator in the numerator? Okay, so pause the video, check it out. Okay, if you're back now, the 2 that involve inverse trig would be this one. This would be an inverse tan problem. And then this one over here, which would be an inverse sine problem or cosine. Okay, so these involve inverse trig, which we will, if you haven't, if you're watching this before we've studied it, we will study it within a day or two. So where's our problem that we were doing from the last chapter? Okay, if you look at this integral, if we let u be not the entire denominator, okay, the key with the ones that will result in natural log is that the u has to be the entire denominator. Here the u is just under the radical. We're going to get negative 2x for our dx, du dx. Right, so du over negative 2x is going to equal dx, right, which is going to result in this integral. And it wouldn't be bad if you practice this. So again, maybe pause the video right here and make sure you can do this. This was similar to problems you were doing on test 2, all right, because you do have to redo these on the final. So perhaps pause the video then and finish this one up. This would result in those x's are canceling. A half would come out in front. That 2 would be in front. And you'd have to bring this upstairs, u to the negative 1/2, right? Because you're going to get radical u in the bottom. So bringing it up, it's negative 1/2 du. Okay, we get to here. Then we increase the power by 1. Divide by the new power. So let's see, if I add a whole to negative 1/2, I get a half, right? Divide by a half, well, that's the same as multiply by 2. Let's not forget I already had a half out in front. Let me try to squeeze that in. Okay, so obviously this 1/2 and this 2 multiply to 1. And so my final answer is u. Right, u to the half is radical, so radical 9 minus x squared plus c. Okay, so it's our old u sub if we let something in parentheses or something under a radical be u. And again, we have to see the derivative of u as part of the integrand. I've said that at least 1,000 times so far this semester. And that is the case here. So I'm going to do one more with you then, involving letting the whole denominator be u, and then I'll make this in 2 segments so it doesn't get too long. So again, pause the video and try this problem. Okay, so some people get confused because the derivative of the denominator is 4. And you look up there and say, well, I don't see a 4, I see a 6. But let's not forget that the 6 can just come out in front. Okay? The constant can just move in front. And then if we let u be the denominator, the entire denominator, then du dx is 4. Okay, making then dx equal to du over 4. Okay, so that 4 in the denominator, right, when I replace dx, right, I replace the dx with the du over 4. So that 4 in the denominator moves out front and put it under the 6, right? 6 over 4. I'll write it as 6 over 4 for the moment, but that could of course reduce to 3/2. Okay, the antiderivative of 1 over u du, we've got to learn to recognize it, right? Some people get stuck right here. We've got to learn to recognize this as the absolute value, natural log of the absolute value of u. Okay, and then of course, plus c. And then we plop in, let's see, what was u? U was 4x plus 5. Okay, so my final answer here, 3/2 natural log absolute value of, what did I say again? 4x plus 5 plus c. Okay, so I'm going to end this video here, but in part 2 of this video, come back and do this problem. This would also be a natural log problem, and so would this one, right? Because the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So this one is also a place where the derivative of the denominator is in the numerator. So I'll do these two. Well, actually, I encourage you to try them right now and then come to the next video and see if you got them right.